What's up everyone, I'm Calamontoast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some of the battles on my way towards hitting the legend rank in Go Battle League, and I did it in the Fighting Cup. Now, the Fighting Cup probably has the most condensed meta of any cup we've ever seen in Go Battle League, but you can actually use this to your advantage because there really aren't that many Pokemon that you need to counter in this cup. The most common team consists of Toxicroak, Hakamo-o and Kommo-o, not specifically in that order, but you will see those three Pokemon paired very frequently. So if you build a team that hard counters that team, then you're going to do very well. So for me, I ran the Throh in the lead with Zen Headbutt, the only Pokemon with a Psychic type fast move or Psychic move of any kind, so it really does well up against that Toxicroak. Then we've got Hitmonchan there. If we don't see Toxicroak in the lead, we're going to switch out into the Hitmonchan, and that will bait out the Toxicroak as they do not want to see it up against the Throh, and that essentially allows the Lucario to sweep endgame up against the Double Dragon lineup. So in this video, I'm not just going to be showcasing the two final sets that I did before hitting Legend, because if I did that, then I'd pretty much be showing you the same battle 10 times, because that's how common the Toxicroak Double Dragon team is. But to make things a little bit more entertaining for you guys, I've hand selected a few different battles from earlier on where I faced some slightly different teams. But just know that if you did try to run this team, then the majority of your battles will be up against the Toxicroak Double Dragon team, so you will be in a very good position to climb Elo. So before we go into the battles, let's get into the question of the day. Which Pokemon has been the MVP for you this season? Now, this doesn't have to be in one of the open leagues. It could also be in one of the theme cups where you gained a ton of Elo because of one specific Pokemon. Let me know which Pokemon that is, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead into a Kommo-o, so we're instantly going to switch into the Hitmonchan. My opponent responds with the Toxicroak, so this is exactly what we want from this team. We want to bait out the Toxicroak so Lucario doesn't have to see it in the end game. They're going to go for a Mud Bomb here, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to wait until the switch clock runs out and come in back with the Throw. We're going to go for one Zen Headbutt, two Zen Headbutts, and we're able to take out the Toxicroak. They come back in with the Kommo-o and they throw straight away. This is just going to be a Dragon Claw, so I'll let it go through. I'm actually going to go for a Body Slam there as my switch clock wasn't quite up yet. We do get a shield from my opponent, and I already know that they're running the Double Dragon team because they're not switching out. So they go for a Dragon Claw here. They do get a shield from me, but I don't care. I'm going for a Power Up Punch up against this Hakamo, and we do get the shield there, so I can go for the close combat before they get to the charge move. And boom, we take out the Hakamo-o, and I'm able to counter, farm down the Kommo-o, and I'm able to take that game. So into the next match, we lead into a Kommo-o again. Again, I'm going to switch into the Hitmonchan. This time they do stay in and they throw a move just before I reach an Ice Punch, which is a good play by my opponent. This time they actually come in with a Shadow Machamp, which is slightly different from the Toxicroak obviously, but I'm going to be able to get a shield here with this second Power Punch, and we do. Now this is kind of scary because Shadow Machamp's close combat is going to hit like an absolute truck, but I have to no shield this because I need to save that shield for the Lucario, so I do let it go through. We do tank it. Throw is actually quite bulky. They come back in with the Kommo-o. I'm gonna no shield this as I was counting and it's just a Dragon Claw, and then they're gonna come in with the Hakamo-o. I'm going for the Power Up Punch bait. I really need my opponent to shield, and they do shield, meaning I'm able to get to the close combat here, and this is gonna boom the Hakamo-o, and unfortunately Kommo-o does take me out, but I'm able to Zen Headbutt, farm down the Kommo-o, and take that game. Now going into the next match, we lead into a Throw, so I'm instantly going to switch into the Hitmonchan once again. My opponent is staying in, so I'm going straight for the Power Up Punch here. My opponent lets it go through, but they switch now into the Toxicroak, but I'm going to be able to go for an Ice Punch here, and this should be getting a shield or do a lot of damage to the Toxicroak. We do get the shield, but that is perfectly fine. I've already got them into the yellow with just counter damage. They're going to go for a charge move here. They go for a Mud Bomb. I let it go through, and they get to another charge move here. Dynamic Punch nearly takes me out, but I just barely hang on. They switch into their own Lucario, but they're running Bullet Punch, which is perfect for me because we do resist it and we are dealing super effective damage with the counters up against that Lucario. We're going for a Power Up Punch here. My opponent lets it go through and they just concede the match. Now, if you do run Lucario, I definitely recommend you run it with counter. Of course, Bullet Punch is neutral up against Toxicroak and other poison types like this Sneasel, but really you want that counter damage for all of the other matchups. Now, my opponent is staying in with this Sneasel, so I'm actually just going to stay in and actually shield once. They bait me, but they're not able to get to another charge move. I'm reading that they have another fighting poison, and they do, in the form of Toxicroak, so this is going to be a very good game here. Go for the Ice Punch, they let it go through, and actually my opponent is going to wait till they have like 1 HP before they throw their charge move, which is a smart play, but it doesn't make a difference. I'm just going to come straight in with the Lucario, and at this point I should be in a very good position here. I'm going to go for the Power Up Punch. We get a shield from my opponent, and now I can just shield this once, and then I should be able to get to another Power Up Punch before they're able to take me out. And I'm going to throw it here just before they throw their next charge move. Power Up Punch doesn't get a shield, but at this point they're so low that I can easily Zen Headbutt farm them down. They go for a Dragon Claw. Actually, they're not even running the Brick Break, so I tank that and I'm able to take them out. Into the next game, we lead into Poliwrath. So once again, just going to switch straight away into the Hitmonchan. My opponent switches straight away, which kind of tells me that they're also running another double dragon team. This time they're running it with the Poliwrath in the lead. So they go for the charge move here. I'm going for a Power Up Punch, and I should be able to get to one more Power Up Punch just before they get to their next charge move. Are they going to shield this and try to get the switch advantage? No, they let it go through and I'm able to take switch advantage, but I'm at a shield disadvantage. But I'm going to come straight in with the Lucario before the switch clock is up. I can safely shield this, and I expect my opponent to switch out into the Poliwrath. Unfortunately, my switch doesn't go through, so I'm thinking, you know what, let's just go for the close combat. Boom, it does so much damage. I switch into the Throh and I catch the charge move. It's just an Ice Punch, so that is perfect. I'm able to Zen Headbutt, farm them down. They come back in with the Combo, and at this point they need to close combat me to take me out. But if they do that, then they're easily going to be counted down. They go for the Dragon Claw, I tank it, and I'm able to farm them down with the Zen Headbutt and take that game. Into the next game, we lead into a Sneasler. So I am going to switch into Lucario as soon as they switch into the Hakamoto, and I will shield the first charge move here. It is the Brick Break, so at this point I'm going to go for the close combat here just before they reach the next charge move, and we take them out here. And because this is a Sneasler and not a Toxicroak, we will be able to get to one more close combat before they can farm me down with the Shadow Claws, and we do get a shield from my opponent. Now I'm going to come in with the Throw here. I'm just going to let this go through. They go with the close combat, so I'm instantly going to switch. They switch into the Combo O and they throw their charge move straight away, so I get the extra counter through. Now at this point I'm going to go for one counter, go for the Power Up Punch. We get a shield from my opponent. Now I'm going to be able to outpace them to the next charge move, go for the Power Up Punch here, and I'm actually going to undercharge this and allow them to get to their charge move so that the Sneasler doesn't get any more farm against the Hitmonchan. I'm able to Zen Headbutt, farm them down, and I'm able to get to this Body Slam just before the Sneasler gets to another charge move, and I'm able to take that game. Going into the next match, we lead Throh into Toxicroak, so this is a good lead for us. They switch into the Hakamoto, and once again I instantly switch into the Lucario. They're going to go for a Dragon Claw here, and I'm expecting this means that they're not running Brick Break, so I'm going to go for a close combat here on the CMP tie, but I don't expect them to shield, and they don't, so we take them out. And now they come back in with the Toxicroak. Because I went for the CMP tie, I farmed up a little bit more energy, so I'm able to get to the close combat and get a shield from my opponent. And at this point, you already know that I'm not going to shield this, and I'm going to switch into the Hitmonchan here. My opponent actually switches after they see my switch, so I kind of forced an error from my opponent there. They go for the Dragon Claw. I'm going to go for 1, 2, 3, 4 counters here. Throw just before they can throw another charge move here. and we just straight take him out. We go for the Ice Punch here up against the Toxicroak. This will be getting the final shield, and at this point I'm going to be able to just barely reach the Body Slam, and this will be taking out the Toxicroak, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to that opponent there. Into the next game, we lead Throh into a regular Poliwrath. So I'm going to switch into the Hitmonchan straight away, and this time they're staying in. So they are probably, I don't know if they're running the double dragon team or not, but I'm going to go for a Power Up Punch here up against the Poliwrath, and then go for one more counter and throw the next Power Up Punch, and I'm really hoping that this KOs, because otherwise I'll have to go down 2 shields, and they just barely hang on with about 1 HP remaining, which is so unfortunate. They go for a Dynamic Punch, and now we are 2 shields down, and they have a Heracross, which is not looking good for us at all. I'm going to go for another Power Up Punch, and we do finally get a shield from my opponent. I'm going to come in with the Throw here, and they are at a close combat, so this will be doing a ton of damage. They instantly switch into the Hakamoto, so I switch into the Lucario here, and unfortunately I'm gonna have to tank a charge move, but they go for a Dragon Claw, so that tells me that they're not running Brick Break, and a lot of opponents aren't running Brick Break because it is expensive to buy the second charge move on the Hakamoto, and considering that Brick Break is only going to be useful up against Lucario. How many Lucarios have you seen in this video? Only one on my opponent's end, and I can tell you that I probably only saw 2 or 3 in total in like the, I don't know, 100 battles that I did in the Fighting Cup, so it is not that common. But just as I say that, of course, we lead into Lucario. They switch into the Sneasler after I switch into the Hitmonchan, and we do get a shield with the Ice Punch here, and I'm just going to let this go through. If they bait me, that's fine. I might be able to get to another charge move. They do bait me, but they're going to throw their energy straight away, meaning that they're pretty much energy dry at this point, so that is perfect. I'm going to come back in with the Throw after waiting out the switch clock, and I'm able to farm them down before they get to another charge move, which is absolutely perfect. They come back in with Lucario. Unfortunately, they have a Blaziken in the back, so I'm going to go for a Power Punch here. They let it go through, and unfortunately we do lag there, so we don't get the final counter through, and that was really frustrating for me. We shield this up. It is a Brave Bird, so they lower their defense. I'm able to farm them down with the Zen Headbutts, and now it's just a race. Can I get to the back-to-back Body Slams before they get to the back-to-back close combats, or a Power Up Punch and a close combat? I'm not really sure what they're going for here, because they should at least be at 1 move. I go for the Body Slam, and they're still not at the back-to-back close combats, so I'm able to farm them down and take that game. Into the next game, we lead into a Hakamoto. I'm going to switch into the Hitmonchan. My opponent comes in with the Toxicroak once again. You already know this is pretty much every single team. We go for the Ice Punch here, and we should be able to get to a Power Up Punch before they're able to take me out. So we do get a shield advantage in this matchup, which is perfect. I'm going to come in with the Throw. Unfortunately, I do not get my Zen Headbutt through, but unless they have 2 moves, that doesn't really matter, and they didn't, so we do take 1 extra counter damage, but it doesn't matter too much. And my opponent is going to throw here, so I'm just going to let the Throw go down, because I can come in with the Lucario. I already know that it's going to be the Komodo in the back, so I'm not going to throw any charge moves just yet. I'm going to shield this up. They go for the Brick Break. They switch. Oh, no, they don't switch, actually. I'm going to go for the Power Punch now. We do get a shield from my opponent. They come in with the Komodo, so I'm going straight for the close combat. And, oh no, wait. I went for the Power Punch there, and I'm able to farm them down. Sorry, the screen is very small for me, but close combat takes out the Hakamoto, and I'm able to take the game. And that was the final battle that I did before I claimed this 4-on-1 set. We have a Zamazenta here. I'm not going to show you me catching that because it took ages, but we hit Legend there just barely. We go to 3002 Elo, and I'm able to hit Legend. So that's going to be it for today's video. For once, this is actually a team that I can strongly recommend you try out in the Fighting Cup if you want to gain a ton of elo really quickly. Well, I say really quickly, the problem is that the Fighting Cup isn't very popular, so the queue times were extremely long, and it took about 5 minutes to find each individual match, which is kind of annoying, especially when we have 10 sets per day, because that just means it takes absolutely ages to do all of your battles. But I guess the wait was worth it because I was able to hit Legend running this off-meta or anti-meta team, as it does directly counter the most popular team in this cup. So if you enjoyed today's video, then make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, we've got Only Shiny and Country Nerd 24, who both say that Shadow Kingdra was absolutely devastating in the Summer Cup, and I know from my own personal experience that facing a Shadow Kingdra, it absolutely destroyed me, so I can imagine it was a pretty strong pick. And finally, we've got Harrow, 276 Pogo, Dr. Advanced, and Kyla Saunders, who all happen to choose Scolipede, all back to back in the comment section, so I figured I'd have to shout you guys out. Scolipede, I didn't face a single Scolipede, but I can imagine it is pretty strong, like they all suggest, so that's why they're getting shoutouts. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.